Always feels like a lot's happening. Things are busy. Of course, news, but you had a busy weekend. I had a busy morning.
Yeah, you did. You're getting,
I flew this morning,
the Nigerian prince.
Yeah, the
wants
Nigerian
you to send
prince.
money to.
No, he didn't want
to
money.
Somalia.
He wanted my body. They didn't want money. First time I ever entertained a scam call because they didn't ask for money. They just wanted me to show up at the, what is it called? The clerk.
Usually they want you clerk of the courts.
Yeah, that's what they wanted me to do. They wanted me to drive over to the clerk of the courts. And I was like, right now? And they were like, yeah, you missed jury duty. Can you sign this thing? And I was like,
can you sign this thing?
Well, they were more eloquent. They had all the case number, this, that, whatever, all my information besides socials. So they were pretty buttoned up. And I was like, you don't need money. They're like, no, we need you to show up to sign a thing.
They were trying to kidnap you, Scott.
All right. Well, I mean, I do Taekwondo, Kratz, so I feel like I'm ready.
Is that how the White Sox are going to get a free agent? They're calling them and scamming people, be like, show up at Chicago at the stadium and we'll give you many American monies to play the game of baseball. Ha ha, gotcha. You signed it.
That's rude. We have a White
Sean
Sox
Newcomb's
player.
coming on today, and he's nice.
Yeah, exactly. We have a White Sox player. Actually, we've had almost all of them, besides Murakami. I mean, Anthony Kay was on the other day.
How do we get Murakami?
Need it.
That's all you. I heard you're the Murakami whisperer, or you're going to be. What if he shows up and he's like, they're like, favorite White Sox, and he's like, Pierzynski.
Should be.
Then you're in.
Should be.
Like Harry Ford. Was it Harry or Henry? Harry. Henry's the truck guy, the Ford guy. All right. Anyway, I'm on low sleep. Let's get to a little bit of news.
Charging the mound.
They did it. Do you see this shirt?
I know. I can't believe you're wearing that in
North
my house.
Side Territory. The Cubs did it. It's a great show, by the way. You should check it out, or the merch. Alex Bregman is a Chicago Cub. How shocked were you? And you were in Chicago on the scene. We almost went live to Pierzynski on the scene in Chicago.
In Soldier Field and in the snow?
Yeah. Live to AJ.
Watching those Packers lose and then crying about it. Poor guys. This didn't really come out in the stadium until the game was kind of over-ish. And so then people, as I was walking out, because if you've never been to Soldier Field, you got to walk out like 2 miles to get anywhere. Because we didn't park, we didn't drive a car. I had a car service, so you have to walk like forever to get out. And that people were kind of clamoring about it as we were walking. Then I was checking my phone, and I was like, oh, wow, this is pretty awesome. But, the Bulls won, the Blackhawks won, the Bears won, and the Cubs signed Alex Bregman in like a 25-minute span. So it was a pretty cool moment to be in the city of Chicago. And people were very excited. Listen, I love this signing. It's a lot, 5/175. What do you do with Matt Shaw now? Do you trade him? Do you make him a super utility guy? What do you do there?
You're going to trade Matt Shaw? He's so young.
Okay, do you trade Nico Horner then?
I wouldn't. There's a great article by Northside Territory host Sahadeh Sharma in The Athletic about why they should just roll with it.
I agree. Listen, I think this is finally a move. They act like a big market team. So I love this move for the Cubs, and that's hard for me to say, as everyone knows. He brings leadership. He brings defense at third. He'll hit you some homers. And from everything you've talked to, you hear from people, is he makes every player better. Makes younger players better, veterans player, because of his preparation and the way he teaches people what he looks for. So this is a great move for them. And congratulations, Cubs fans. Cubs actually are acting like they're the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a move that they did that. And to me, I think with the moves they've made, strengthen the bullpen, adding rotation, and now you add Bregman, they've got to be the favorites in the Central.
Really?
People say the Brewers, the Brewers, the Brewers. But
yeah.
This move, the moves they made with Hunter Harvey and some of the other bullpen moves they made, and then strengthening some positions like bench-wise, I think they're probably the favorite right now. I know Kratz is going to say no, and everyone else is going to say, but the Brewers find a way to do it every year. But, I mean, this move really helps a lot.
It does.
Especially if the Brewers trade Freddie P. Then I'm like,
That's what I wanted to ask Kratz. Kratz, do you think that the Cubs are the front runners in the division now? And if the Brewers trade Freddie Peralta, does that change your mind?
Oh, the Brewers trade Freddie P? Yes, for sure. Because everybody else, you're just trying to fill in that rotation. Nobody's going to fill in for what Freddie gave them last year. Are the Brewers an 87-win team this year like they're predicted? I don't know. Like, obviously, we're not supposed to bet against the Brewers because they just keep showing the naysayers wrong. But the Cubs, to me, they're not quite back offensively to the point where what they had from Tucker last year, even though he faded in the end. Bregman's not going to give them all of that. But, is this an upgrade? It'll be an upgrade based on how they deploy the rest of their roster. Their roster, their position player roster is, to me, it's really good. Is it better than last year? And last year's offense was clicking, was holding them together, and then they went through some ups and downs. So I think, are they the favorite? I would kind of lean towards yes, but I'm not 100% convinced yet. Just because 7 straight years the Brewers have done, have won more games than everybody thinks they're going to win.
Well, improved. Offensively, they do lose Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, but he didn't do anything for him the entire second half. He was hurt.
Yeah.
And did almost nothing.
Their offense in the
from
first half
July on, he didn't do a whole lot. And honestly, their whole production went down.
Yeah, they were, I think, 20th in runs in the second half after. I think they finished a really high mark, like maybe 5, 6, something like that, in runs scored. And I know run scored is not the perfect stat, factor in ballpark, all of that. Although the Cubs ballpark can get pretty dicey these days for hitters. Yes.
My thing is, does it make them? The question is, are they better? Do you get another year of like Matt Shaw offensively? Yes, Bregman's an upgrade over him. But like in the second half, you talk about what they didn't do in the second half. PCA, All-Star. He cratered. He started cratering a little bit before the All-Star game. Seiya Suzuki should have been an All-Star. Cratered in the second half. As far as like number stats-wise. Kyle Tucker was obviously going through injuries that have been well documented. So does signing Bregman somehow help the whole team from not cratering in the second half? I don't know. But if you're looking at because they make teams right now in the offseason, they make them based on projections, based on your WAR, what kind of defensive value you're going to get and everything. And Bregman is not an upgrade over Tucker. Is he an upgrade to this team without Tucker? Obviously. He's an upgrade just hand in hand to Matt Shaw. Yeah, people are going to argue Shaw's WAR was pretty close to the same. He had good defense. I get it. But to me, this is a good job by Jed Hoyer looking ahead and saying Nico Hoerner is going to be a free agent. We signed him to a nice little 3-year, $35 million deal to get this one extra year of free agency, and next year he'll be a free agent. Does that mean Shaw moves to second? Does that mean Bregman moves to second? Shaw comes back to third? To me, if I'm them, I don't trade any of those guys. It is a good thing to have a lot of depth. It's going to suck for somebody to not get the full 150 at-bats that, you're probably going to lose. But then next year, they slot in and they play, you have your second and third baseman for the future.
Also, injuries happen. I mean, Bregman played, 114 this past season? Depth matters. And yes, it might suck for a year. If everybody just happens to be super healthy and wants to play every day, somebody's going to be pissed off. But let that be the worst problem, because the Cubs should be a more successful ball club. I just don't see a world where the Cubs are going to get better by trading Nico Hoerner. If they're going to trade him, they're likely getting minor league prospects back. Is that really what you want to do at this point? If we're playing the numbers game, right, in baseball, and you're looking at the WAR statistic, I mean, I believe Nico Hoerner was at or above Bregman. He was definitely above him on Baseball Reference this past season. He was 6.2 on BWAR, fourth among NL position players. I'm bringing this up because a version of this is what many front offices look at. So I'm like, if you add Bregman, you freaking keep Nico Hoerner and also have a super tight defense. Yeah. Look at that defense now.
They're all about run saved.
Yeah.
Defensive run saved. Yeah.
That infield's tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't even think you entertain it. Nico's making $12 million this coming season. All good. Operate like a big market ball club, have a good time, and enjoy a guy who is looked at as one of the team leaders. Yes. Craig Counsell spoke about him at the winter meetings. This was in Sadev Sharma's article. And he said, Nico's great at some things I think other people think they're good at, and they're not good at it. I'm not talking about just players. I'm talking about people. He's talking about reps and completing it perfectly and all of that, right? And he's saying some guys think they're good and they're not that good at all of the prep.
By the way, as much as we're hyping the Cubs at this, what about the Red Sox?
We're going to get to the Red Sox. We have Pap joining us soon, too.
I mean, the Red Sox, he was a huge piece of their team last year. What do they do? I mean, I know they went out and got Sonny Gray, and I know they went out and got Wilson Contreras, but they have a hole at third base and second base, right? Because they were I think most Red Sox fans were like, we'll keep Bregman, we'll bring Bregman back, and then we'll figure out second base. So does this bring Bo Bichette into the Red Sox land of opportunity?
Yeah, he's going to cost more, and there's other teams involved. My thing is, if you really wanted Bregman, you couldn't just figure this shit out.
I love Chris Cotillo's text too, or tweet, by the way.
What?
So they traded Devers for a 1 year of Alex Bregman,
mm-hmm.
and now they don't have either one.
Correct.
And now they're searching for a third baseman again.
How'd that opt-out go? Here's the thing.
But I honestly believe that every Red Sox fan, we'll ask Pat when he comes on, thought that this was a done deal. Like he's coming back. He's going to come back. Why would anybody ever walk away from the high and mighty Red Sox? Why would anybody ever leave the Red Sox? Especially when we made the playoffs. Him and AC are tight, Alex Cora.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden, here he is, boom, on the Cubs.
5 years, $175 million, $70 million in deferrals for Bregman. And what it seems like, and this was first, I think, reported from Sean McAdam, is that the Red Sox would not go past 5 years, $165 million. That was their final offer, with significant deferrals that were going to be paid out later than the Cubs deal.
Okay.
So it actually, then that present value gets even more distant.
The Red Sox made an offer early in the offseason. Whatever that was, let's say 150. I don't know. These are not the real numbers, okay? I don't know the real numbers.
Okay.
They made an offer to Alex Bregman early in the offseason and said, here it is. And his camp kept going back saying, that's not our market. Our market's higher than that. And it made Alex a little bit mad, and they would not move. So then the Red Sox were like, okay, well, take it or leave it. And they will not budge. Then Bregman's camp with Boris goes back to him and says, hey, we have a higher offer, and we're going to probably take it. And the Red Sox were like, we don't believe you. If you can do it, do it. And then they said, okay, well, we're going to sign. We're not telling you the number. We're going to sign with a different team. And that's when the Red Sox went to this 165. But Bregman was already one mad, and two had a higher offer. And the longer, the more they tried to stretch it out, the longer and farther down the road the deferrals got. So Bregman's like, I'm getting more money in a shorter amount of time. I'm going to the Cubs.
What does he owe the Red Sox?
Nothing. That's what I'm saying. But the Red Sox literally would not move and would not budge and really wouldn't negotiate until it was almost, well, it wasn't almost too late. It was too late. And now they're like, oh, we messed that one up. And now obviously Red Sox fans are flipping out about it.
Yeah. And Cubs fans should be thrilled.
Yes.
They went through this last year, Kratz. Last year, the Cubs were trying to play ball for Bregman and very interested in him and didn't land him. So did the Tigers.
And the Tigers, from what I heard, did this to Bregman last year. The same thing the Red Sox did this year. They said, here's an offer. Take it or leave it. We don't know what your market is.
171.5, by the way, was the number last year.
Okay. Well, they wouldn't move, though, again.
That was the highest they'd go.
They wouldn't move.
Yeah.
And so Bregman was like, well, I can opt out or get this opt-out deal with the Red Sox. And then he got his 175. So he got almost 200. You count 15. The 1 year in Boston?
More. Yeah, 200 plus. And deferrals make it a little murky, but he got way more.
Whatever.
He got more.
Yes.
Yeah. It's sometimes difficult to do the present day value on the fly like that when you're doing comps from past years. But regardless, yeah, he did better. He got what he wanted. Deal done. And actually, when you look at it, it's not crazy, right? 175, and there's deferrals there, so we'll figure out what the exact number is.
When we get to Bellinger later in the show, I want to talk about some stuff too there.
Okay.
How this one could affect the other, and how this just because we had a whole thing on this on Friday. Kratz, you weren't on, but I went on a little bit about Bellinger and what his market might look like, and I've talked to some people, and it's been clarified a little bit for me. So we'll see how Bregman affects Bellinger.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
But for Bregman, no trade clause, no opt-outs. This is it.
Good. Yeah, that's it. 175 million, Alex. This is it, baby.
I mean, the no trade clause, the Red Sox didn't want to do it. The Red Sox didn't want to put the no trade clause in. Company policy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Well, while we're on that, let's get to it with help from a friend. Jonathan Papelbon coming in from the top rope, a perfect intro music for you to tell us what we need to know about Alex Bregman not returning to the Boston Red Sox. Pap, set the scene.
Well, I think you guys explained it pretty much. The no trade clause to me was the final factor and decision maker in this. And, I don't know how y'all feel, but I feel like I did in college when I walked into a bar and there's this hot chick there, and you waited to go up and talk to her, and then somebody else came in, swooped in and talked to her, and now she's gone. She left the bar with him. So that's how I feel right now. But it's the Red Sox to me are a big market team in and out, and you are not going to win, especially today with the New York Yankees and the Toronto Blue Jays in your division, first of all, without being able or prepared to pay. I mean, the market speaks for itself nowadays. If you're not prepared to go 170 to 250 to 350, I don't care amount of years, you got to be able to pay. And they're just not doing that right now. And now the latest thing I've heard is they're going to get creative with the offseason. And I've heard this before, let's get creative. Let's start signing more ground ball guys. You're going to platoon like Eaton and somebody else at second. Meyer, rookie who got hurt all last year, is probably going to look at playing third. And that doesn't cut it for me.
Can we just clarify one thing with his analogy? Did you like it? I just felt like there was one slice missing from it for Pap. So it's like you went on an amazing date, right? Because you already have a relationship formed with this girl. Then you see her at the bar and you kind of like either ignore her or go up to her and say something weird or not inappropriate, but like you offer her like to, I don't know, not hang out at the moment. Like we'll hang out again another time. And then she leaves.
First of all, and I also want to say this for Pap. He went to college in Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to Mississippi State. There aren't a ton of girls there that Pap should be talking to anyways.
Wow.
So
Pap.
I'm just going to throw that out there. Maybe he got lost and he ended up in a field with some other cows or some sheep or something that he got confused with. But let's just throw that out there first. And by the way, you weren't old enough to drink when you were in college, Pap. So that's also another thing that we're not going to talk about.
True story, AJ. True story. But here's the thing: when it all boils down to it, this dude, right? As soon as he came to the Red Sox, and talk about Bregman, right? As soon as he came through, he was anointed as a captain, leader, another coach on the bench, all these things. I'm sitting here thinking we're going to wrap this up by Christmas. And this is going to be a Christmas present for Red Sox Nation. Not only did they stumble their feet, the disappointment has now set in. And now what are you going to do? But to me, I did more than half of the home games with Nesson last year. And the asses were in the seats still. And you're going to have to see, like, are we going to be prepared for the fans to revolt on us or not? Because I've heard a lot of bad things from the fans so far.
Yeah, but they didn't revolt when they weren't signing guys other years. And then they signed Bregman last year, and the asses were in their seats. So that's, to me, have they made that move to put the asses back in the seats? Because really this team floundered, minus Garrett Crochet, this team floundered around 500. Is Roman Anthony going to be the guy who's taking this team to the next level? Is Trevor Story going to continue? Like, he had to jump back up last year. Is your MVP candidate, Cedane Rafaela, going to, like, carry this team? Because they've downgraded their offense right now without making this signing.
There's no question about that, Kratz. But to me, it's the Red Sox, in order to compete in this division now, and the last thing I heard is the Phillies were talking to Bichette. So I'm sitting here thinking at least we're going to go after Bichette, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen either. So you're relying on Cedane having an MVP type season, which I think he can have. You're relying on role players at second, role players at third, and possibly at first base, if Casas does come back, I don't know. Contreras is probably going to play 95% of the time, but what are you going to do with him as well? So there's so many question marks up in the air that some things have got to be figured out. And, you know, to me, it's not looking good right now because they just crept into the playoffs last year with the wild card and ended up getting their butts beat by the New York Yankees. So I don't know how much longer you can accept that if I'm the Boston Red Sox front office.
All right, it's funny you said front office was the last thing you said, because you said when they brought Bregman in, this was a dude that was a coach on the field. Does this non-signing, yes, they offered him $165 million. Yes, it's a lot of money, but they didn't get the job done. Does this non-signing signify a more of a disconnect between the front office and the field than there was before?
I think yes and no. I think it continues that there is a disconnect because the fans and the front office with the Boston Red Sox right now are so disconnected. I mean, you know, my buddy that I do Unrestricted Views with, Carabas, he's about to commit suicide. But like the thing is, though, is there a disconnect between AC, Jason Varitek, and some of these guys that are on staff with the front office? That's my big concern right now. Like, is there a disconnect there at all? Because to me, I'm coaching this team. I need these guys. I'm trying to stress how important a guy like Bregman is in my clubhouse. And the last thing I want to say, too, is the Red Sox having this no trade clause, we don't do that rule is a bunch of BS, okay? That's all BS. First of all, they did it with Pedroia when I was there, and they did it with, I think, Chris Sale and maybe one other guy. So that's BS. You got to throw that out the window. And so to me, if that was the final straw, then they missed big with Bregman.
No, they did miss big. But also, why would Bregman want to no trade when they traded Mookie, they traded Sale, and they traded Devers in the last few years? So if I'm him and I'm going there, I want to no trade because they have a history of trading these guys later on. So that is a big deal to players, having that security and having that whole thing. So I agree with you, Pat. But what I want to know is, where do they go next? Like, you kind of hit on it, but do they go out and find somebody else? Do they go after a Bo Bichette, right? Are they comfortable with Meyer, and are they comfortable with Christian? We forgot about Christian Campbell. We don't even talk about him. They signed him to a $60 million deal last year, and he was in AAA most of the year. So what do they do with him, right? So they have options, but are they good enough to help them with what Alex Bregman brought, not only on the field, but from what everyone says he brought off the field? When you add Wilson Contreras, you add Sonny Gray, you add some other guys here and there, but they haven't really improved the infield. And if they're run prevention, Alex Bregman is great at run prevention at their base.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. So for me being a pitcher, AJ, and I'm a big believer in run prevention, obviously, but to me is who are those guys going to be? I mean, Meyer is unproven in the infield, and you're right now got him probably slotted in at third base. Then you got Eaton and Campbell, who both are completely unproven at second base. And at shortstop, does Trevor Story at his age come back and still be capable of having an MVP type season and carrying a team? You bring in Contreras. Now, Contreras, to me, is going to have to go out. If they don't do anything else, he's going to have to go out and have a big poppy 40 and 45 and hit 320. I mean, and that's not going to happen. So, to me, the moves have got to be made. But like I said earlier, y'all, the front office has got to be prepared to spend. I don't understand their motives behind not wanting to spend money right now, because everyone else, especially Toronto and New York, who are in your division, are spending money.
Where are they at? Where are they at in the division right now? You just said Toronto and New York. Well, New York hasn't spent money yet, but you assume they will. But
yeah,
where do you have the Red Sox? Are they a third place team right now? Or do you like the Orioles enough to make the Red Sox a fourth place team?
Well, I think the Orioles are going to bounce back. So to me, it's going to be fighting between Tampa Bay and the Red Sox for last place in the division. And that's where I see them right now. But the whole thing of this is that when you're a front office, right? And I'm not in the front office, but you've got, just like the players are seeing what's happening with other players. AJ, you said this earlier. You think that the Bregman deal is going to affect the Bellinger deal and so on and so on. Well, there's no difference in the front office, right? These deals affect who are you going to go after? What are you going to do next? And to me, they've got to get in on the Bo Bichette deal. I don't know if y'all know this, but here's a little fun fact from Bo Bichette. His dad played there, right? His dad met his mom in Boston. He was born in Boston and all that mess. So every time he goes to Boston, somehow he just rakes. Check out his numbers. I checked them out like 2 weeks ago, but they're off the charts. And so to me, if you got a player that can play in Fenway Park, he's one of them.
True. What about a trade for Arenado? Like, what about Nolan Arenado? Or what about Gino Suarez on a short-term 1 year with an opt-out kind of thing? Same thing they tried with Bregman, right? What about, those are some bigger named third basemen. Arenado's defense, yes, has slipped. His offense has slipped a little bit, but he's still a decent player. Suarez he'll hit you some homers. He'll strike out a ton, but he's going to hit you homers. He's a good vibes guy. So what about one of those two possibly coming in and taking over there?
Yeah, I tell you what, AJ, out of all those people, I do like those moves. You got to start getting creative and thinking, okay, can we slip in some 1-2 year deals with this guy or that guy? But to me, that guy would have to be Nolan Arenado. Like, he's got to be on the radar. If he's not, they're mistaken again. And the reason why I say that is because this clubhouse, and I've been around these guys a lot, they need leadership, man. And Nolan is one of those guys who will step right in just like a Bregman and lead a team. He's going to be the same guy day in and day out, and he's going to be someone that throughout the course of the season they can lean on if he stays healthy, and that's everybody. But, yeah, they're going to have to get creative in some ways or another, AJ.
Who's the star now? So who steps up and is the star? Because that's where the maturation of Marcelo Meyer, the maturation of Roman Anthony, the fact that you were hoping Tristan Casas would take the next steps, watching Bregman, who's the star for them to watch? Is Story that guy?
Story's not that guy. I'm sorry. It's not Story. To me, in the pitching side of it, it's obviously Garrett Crochet. He's the guy that everybody's going to show up to and watch. But on the other side, the position side of the field, to me, they've already anointed him as the star, and he's going to have to continue to fill big, huge shoes of being the star, and that's Roman Anthony, right? So this kid you're relying on a 22-year-old kid to go out in Fenway Park, night in and night out, and be the next David Ortiz or the next, star among stars, and they've already anointed him as that. So if he fails right out the gate, it's going to be, oh, crap, what do we do now? So there's a lot of pressure on that kid to be a star. And do I think he can do it? Yes, I think he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he can be a star for the Red Sox and, be that guy or that dude. But it's only time will tell.
All right, Pap, let's move on. Do they have enough pitching right now? I know you said they're going to be battling with the Rays. Crochet had an unbelievable year. They went out and get Sonny Gray. They're relying on some of their younger guys, Bayo and some of these guys to kind of take that next step and become what they need. They brought back Chapman in the back end of the bullpen, but they're counting on guys again to have great years that a lot of people outside of Fenway have never heard of. Do they have enough pitching, or do they need to go out and still get another pitcher? Because they did lose Giolito. He's a free agent. So do they have enough pitching right now? Forget the offensive side of it. Do they have enough pitching? Because everyone says pitching wins championships. And when the Red Sox were winning, they had Pedro and they had Wake and they had you in the back end and Keith Folk and all these guys in the back end that were really good. So do they have enough pitching right now to compete in this division? Forget the offense.
Well, AJ, I don't think they do. I don't think you can ever really have enough pitching, especially in Fenway Park. But Here's some keys to the situation with the bullpen, though. You got Chapman coming back, who is defines life, and I've watched his offseason workout videos again this offseason just because I'm so intrigued by this man. But he's going to be back doing the same things, in my opinion. And you got his setup man and Whitlock established already, who both had phenomenal seasons last year, both all-star type seasons. Now, you're going to need some guys to step up again. There's probably not going to be a Bernardino again. And, he was really good for him. But the starting pitching, to me, all relies on one guy, and that's Brian Bayo, not Garrett Crochet, okay? Brian Bayo has got to come and start pitching like a number 1 or 2, not a 3 or 4, and start being able to not only pitch that way, but AJ and Kratz be able to beat other teams' number 1s and 2s. When you have that guy that's your second and third starting staff rotator and going out and winning games against other guys' 1s and 2s, that's when you can creep up in the standings. So if he can do that, then they'll be all right. But still, that we have yet to see Brian Bayo do that. So that's unproven.
Talking about pitching, are you okay with the moves of not getting Bregman if they trade for a Freddie Peralta, and you can launch this team back into the first or second in the division, or at least a playoff team, if they would get a Freddie P, a true number 1 to go behind your ace in Crochet?
Yes, I would, Kratz. Yes, because now you have the pitching staff to take up for the lack of what your lineup is doing, right? Now, in all 3 phases of the game, hitting, pitching, and defense, when all those line up, yeah, you go on 10, 12-run streaks of winning. But, when you have a guy like Freddie P going and a Garrett Crochet going, and you can somehow, some way get into the playoffs, then boom, you're set, right? You got that 1-2 punch, especially when it's, 4-game, 5-game series, and it's not a 7-game series, you can beat them in 3 or 4 games. So that would be huge, in my opinion.
I just want to circle back to the top of why we're all chatting right now. So the Red Sox badly wanted someone. They already had a taste.
But I told you,
and then they came up short like this.
But they didn't. They wouldn't budge because maybe we should ask Pap. Are the Red Sox front office and ownership, John Henry, overconfident in what they do and what they offer? Because from what I was told, they made an early offer to Bregman, didn't budge. They went back and said, "Look, we have a higher offers than what you're offering us." Alex kind of wants to come back. Then the no trade, all that stuff happened, and then the Red Sox were like, "We don't believe you." And then Bregman was like, "Hey, I'm going to go with another team." And then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, here's our real best offer, 5/165 with a ton of deferrals out, 20, 30 years." Do we think maybe the Red Sox were just too overconfident that Alex Bregman's market wasn't going to get there and they were just going to get him back?
I think he nailed it on the head, AJ. But let me tell you something. I don't know if y'all had Scott Boras as an agent or not. But when Scott Boras comes back and he tells you, I got 5 for 175, or I got 7 for 250, or I got 9 for 350, you believe him, okay? You believe him. And then you go about your business accordingly to what he says. So, them saying, "Oh, we don't," but come on, man, that's child's play to me. And secondly, when you realize that, okay, this no trade clause is that important to him, then you come up off of that too. Like, there's no questions asked. And I don't know about y'all, but Bregman's to the point of his life where he wants stability, and there's no question about it. Like, he's got his wife, kids, and, he's at that point where he wants to be settled. And I think that played a huge factor in this whole situation.
Incredible. Truly incredible. Well, Pap, thank you for joining us. Therapy session or whatever it is. Actually, I would say most importantly, your boy and our friend Jared Carrabis does need a hug right now. He's kidding. He's okay. He's going to be fine. We're not making light of, the situation that Pat mentioned earlier, but he definitely is.
Another thing, I
definitely
find it
on
really,
time.
really odd that they did this after the whole Winterfest deal. I don't know if y'all know about that. That was kind of got me too there, buddy.
Fenway Fest ended, and then how long after that did this happen?
Hours
later, it happens.
Hours later.
If you really wanted
and
to,
you know what I think this weekend is?
Cubs convention. Nailed it.
Cubby
So they trade for Edward Cabrera. They get Alex Bregman. Guess how many more tickets they sold at Cubs convention? Probably a lot.
Enough to make up a difference. No, I know, but yeah, Cubs convention is Friday through Sunday this weekend.
Nailed it.
So is Red Sox. Yeah. Wow, Pat. Incredible. Hey, Red Sox organization should consider themselves lucky. If that happens 24 hours earlier.
Oh, man.
Can you imagine what
Moral of the story. Like? Moral of the story, boys. When that hot chick's in the bar, you go get her, man.
Yep. Don't wait.
Or they're in the field, Pap, for you. They're in the field. You see that one, you got to go get them.
Yep.
Love you, Pat. We'll talk to you soon, dude. Thanks for swinging by.
All right, guys. See you.
Appreciate you. Hey, Monster Territory does more therapy session action with Robbie Hyde, part of the FT Network. Robbie was at Fenway Fest before the volcano erupted, so more from him. I'm sure he'll be very active this week. And of course, we have Northside Territory too, if you want to hear them all bask in the glory of signing Alex Bregman. Hey, make good eats at home part of your 2026 New Year's resolution. HelloFresh is what we're talking about here.
Steak, seafood, whatever options you want. They have stone fruit to corn on the cob. Scott, I know you're a big stone fruit fan. But
hey, you've eaten it all.
I have. I've tried a lot of things, but HelloFresh always delivers. They're fresh, delicious meals that you get to cook. So you feel like you actually accomplished something when you eat them after you're done cooking them.
Over 100 mouth-watering recipes each week. It's made with wholesome ingredients like 100% antibiotic and hormone-free chicken, because when dinner tastes this good, nothing hits like home cooking. Go to HelloFresh.com/FT10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free Zwilling knife, a $144.99 value on your third box. Offer valid while supplies last. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. Get America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh. All right, so what's next? Who is next to sign? Will it be the Yankees signing Cody Bellinger? Not according to Buster Olney. He said the Yankees are now operating under the assumption that Bellinger is going to sign elsewhere.
Yeah, posturing.
By the Yanks? To be like, well, that's it.
They have a 5-year deal on the table, and now they're like, oh, he's not taking it.
So we think it's.
So we're going to move on.
Yeah, we think it's 530, and they're like, ugh, you don't appreciate it.
He has not been offered a 6-year deal,
right?
According to numerous sources.
So maybe it's 5.
Okay.
If it's not 6, then it's 4 or 5.
I'll tell you this much right now, and I've learned a lot since we talked Bellinger last time. First of all, I was told that the Bregman signing should open up some free agent signings, other ones, because now there's a little bit more of an established market.
Okay.
Second of all, we had a whole conversation. I was like, if you go back this many years, What I was told is teams usually and agents only go back the last 3 years.
For comps?
For comps.
Now, agents do that or teams do that?
I think both.
Both? Okay.
So then the other thing that's interesting to me is you can make an argument, and certain people make this argument, that Bellinger for the last 3 years has actually been better than Bregman. And he's 2 years younger. I'm not saying that he gets more than Bregman, but I'm saying some people out there could make a case that he should get more than Bregman.
What about
and a longer contract?
Don't you think
that's
Bregman
where you hear the 7 years?
Yeah, but Bregman also has a sauce to him that
I'm not.
Listen,
I'm not. I'm just saying what people are saying.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but agree or disagree. Bregman and say Kyle Schwarber, right, in different ways a little bit, but have a certain sauce that amplifies their value.
I'm not going to. The media and people in their clubhouse have come out and said Bregman makes everyone better. Schwarber makes everybody better. So teams see this in the media repeatedly, and they're like, "Oh, he can make our team better. Let's bring him in."
I think they make a little extra.
It matters because then if there's a guy out there and like, "Oh, he doesn't really make anybody better," oh, we don't want to touch him.
Bellinger's cool.
Bellinger's great.
He's not Bregman. Everyone would say that.
No, but he's better defensively.
Yeah.
He earns a lot of his WAR defensively.
He's better defensively than Bregman?
Look at his WAR.
Yes.
His B WAR, D WAR, whatever it is.
I mean, different positions, but
it doesn't matter.
Bregman
Okay, last year, Bregman, who had a higher WAR last year, Bregman or Bellinger?
Bellinger.
Yeah, okay.
Bregman also played 14 games, and how many?
Yeah, but he had almost a 2 WAR less, 3.5 to 5.1.
Way close.
Counting stat. Okay. I'm sorry.
I mean, Bellinger over the last 3 years, 9.9, 12.1.
Wait, I just want to document history right now. I'm on a different side of the coin here.
They had about the same WAR.
AJ is calculating WAR.
I'm just saying, this is how teams look at it. OPS plus 128, 116, 122 for Bregman. And for Bellinger, 125, 139, 111. Better for Bellinger. Last 3 years. I'm just going last 3 years.
I'm not knocking
plus he
the
plays
player.
center field. Plus he can play first base. Plus he'll steal you bases.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making the argument one's better than the other. I'm just saying the way I was told from people, this is how market teams and agents look at it. And they say, well, if the market for Bellinger or for Bregman is 175, you can make an argument Bellinger's actually better. He should get more, longer term and more.
Who do you want over the next 5 years? It's a show. We have to do it all. Who do you guys want over the next 5 years? I take Bregman.
I want both.
No, you can't do that.
You can't tell me what I can and can't do.
Okay, fine. But if you're abstaining, then you're abstaining. Kratz?
What team am I putting him on? Am I putting Bellinger on the Yankees?
Yeah, but you guys are doing defensive fits like, oh, he's a better defender than him. Like, they're playing two different positions.
We're supposed to be equal, though, Scott. It's your end-all, be-all stat.
Okay, so you have an opening in the outfield and at third base.
Which team? Which park and which team? Because park matters.
Bellinger doesn't need to be the Alex Bregman of the team because they have Judge. So to me, Bellinger's more valuable to the Yankees. So I take Bellinger. If you're making me choose, I love Bregman. I think Bregman to the Red Sox is more valuable than Bregman to the Cubs. People are going to be like, what does that even mean? You're an idiot. But to me, it's all based on how, if you're using that like intangible, Kyle Schwarber, Alex Bregman, they got the sauce, like you said, Scott, that plays at different places. That is if there's already an established leader on the team, that plays at different places. And maybe the Cubs needed that guy. We just heard that maybe Nico Horner was probably that guy for them. Or, Dansby Swanson is that guy, whatever it is. But I think your sauce fits on a certain team differently. And I think Bellinger's ability to back up Ben Rice at first base if he goes to catch a few games gives him versatility. The fact that he can play center field if Trent Grisham has a down year, something happens. They're slotting a center fielder into left field, and he doesn't, if he lacks that Bregman leadership or Schwarber leadership, which is rare, elite type of leadership that we hear in the game, Judge has already got that. Judge is already the guy, and he's not going to step on Judge's toes.
It's a good explanation, and I want to double down. I like Cody Bellinger, and I think he's worth $30 million per year. We did this exercise on Friday together. We were like, if the Yankees are not offering him 5 years, shame on them.
Yes.
If Belly's asking for 7, I don't know if anyone else is going to give him 7 at that rate. That's just my guess. We don't know everything. And then 6, we were like, okay, I can see that.
But we also didn't have the Bregman contract now to look at either.
Sure.
And I know they're different players, different positions,
different
all that.
ages.
But I'm just saying, if
you're younger,
if you go back and look at their numbers, it changes things.
6 at 130. Didn't we literally said 6 at 30 year 180, and I think everyone's happy. Didn't we say that?
Yeah, yeah. But nobody's gotten to 6 yet.
Then.
So then if they say 5-150, I know it's less than Bellinger, then if that's all you got to take it, right?
If that's all you have, you got to take it. But if you've got some other team lurking, like the Cubs just did with the Red Sox.
Well, the Cubs have always been a rumored team for Bregman. Mm-hmm. It's not like they just came out. Like we had always said, oh, Bregman would fit last year. Remember, we said, oh, Bregman would fit nicely on the Cubs. We said that last year.
And the Tigers.
And the Tigers. And the Tigers definitely weren't pulling that trigger. And the Cubs, we didn't think would either.
Yeah.
Right. So then, but then after time, I mean, listen.
The Tigers did pull the trigger. They just came up short on last year, not this year.
This year, But then for Bregman this year with the Cubs, like everyone, again, it goes back to every Red Sox fan just assumed he's going to be a Red Sox again.
Okay. So
and then they missed.
Yeah. So we're trying to figure out the place for him, and it does still feel like the Yanks. And so they're just having a good old-fashioned stare down right now. There's other spots. I mean, he'd be great on the
Angels.
Angels would be big. Oh, my gosh.
Mets, Angels.
Mets is a fit. Yeah.
Let's ask Luke Weaver.
We can. Let's get to our next guest. Now pitching Luke Weaver on FT, New York Met. Luke, great to have you on, man. Congratulations. We haven't had you since the deal. So first off, tell us how it all went down this offseason for you.
Boys, happy to be here. Thank you for this valuable time on this wonderful show. It's an interesting process. I will say I'm grateful to finally be in a position where, you're not just scrapping at the bottom and hoping to fight your way into finding a team, a roster, and that's a really tough place to be. So this game has its ups and downs, and so it was a really smooth process. It was learned a lot about myself, a lot about the ins and outs of that industry and the business side on both ends, and we just landed in a similar, city and maybe in a different location.
Now, before we get into your free agency and what happened and how you ended up on the Mets, which I want to hear all about, you played with Cody Bellinger last year. Is he worth what they want him to be worth? You were there. You were in the room with them every day for 162 days, 8 months of the year. Tell us about Cody Bellinger and his worth, because there just seems to be such a difference of opinion on what Cody Bellinger brings every day to a team.
Yeah, sure. I've enjoyed being on his team more than I've had faith in him over my time. So great player, even better dude. He's consistent. He's just the same guy every day. He's a guy you want in your clubhouse, certainly a player you want on your team. He's got unique skill set, plays the outfield really well, runs really well, and he's got an interesting approach at the plate where it kind of shifts depending on where he's at in the count, and he uses all the field well. So I'll make sure that I get a text from him telling me thank you for all that. But at the end of the day, I don't know the numbers personally as what he's kind of going for. I kind of just see the surface level stuff. I think at the end of the day, he's as good as somebody who wants to pay him, right? That's what they always say. But he is a valuable player, and I think he'll be a great fit. I think he's worth all the money that he wants. But at the end of the day, the teams will decide that if they see that fit.
Did you have a number going into free agency? Did you have a number or years or even, I guess, location? Or was it something that we'll wait and see where you're at? And then if you did have a number, how close did the market come to your number?
Yeah, what I'll say on that is I just wanted to try to land somewhere for at least 2 years if possible. I know it's super hard to get multi-year deals as a reliever, especially in the three range. So to be able to land a 2-year deal was a huge thing for me and my family, to just have some of that stability, some of that time where, as a player, you guys understand that you just want to be able to know where you're going to be each day, but really in the next year or so. So having that come together was great. The number side of things, not necessarily in my head. I mean, I don't really know what that market even looks like. I know as relievers, it can be a bit off of what the guy did before you, or, the people that you're looking left and right on in the market. So, I'm very thankful for like a Brad Keller to go out there and get a nice deal and kind of open up some availability for me in that way. And, the guys before him just setting different levels to it, and just being patient through it and to see what happens.
That's awesome. Brad Keller, we just had on last week, by the way. He was super excited about going to Philly, so you get to face him. You guys will have some eighth-inning showdowns possibly here in the near future in the NL East. So, be careful what you wish for sometimes, Luke. Were you shocked, though, the Yankees? Were you shocked? Did the Yankees make you an offer, or they did not make you an offer, correct? Were you kind of shocked that they didn't try at all? Because you did some good things. I mean, you closed when they needed a closer, right? You were their eighth-inning guy when they needed an eighth-inning guy. You've done a lot of things for them. Were you a little bit surprised that they didn't come to you and say, hey, Luke, we really value what you did for us?
Yeah, they didn't have official offer or anything of that deal. Yeah, I forever ingrained into that organization these last 2 years of just kind of resurrecting my career, gaining momentum, and just being able to play on a platform that is just really high, and to do some really cool things, and to, for my own personal gain, just to gain that confidence and that love for baseball once again, and just see where it takes me to the finish. Yeah, I think I really, really loved and valued every single person in that clubhouse and on the team in general, and would have loved to have been able to continue things to roll. But we know there's always a chapter that ends and somewhere else you got to pick up. And I got all love for those guys. I hope they do extremely well and achieve all they want. There's no bad blood on my end. I don't believe there is. I've got a lot of great text and support from them and wishing me the best. And obviously they're not going to root for me when the time comes near and we're in a Subway Series. But at the end of the day, just a really, really cool time there, and everybody there was just so impactful in my life.
Talk about teammates. Well, you're going over to play with Juan Soto again, but Devin Williams is going to be in the bullpen with you again. He signed before you. Was there any process where maybe you were going through the free agent process and they were like, hey, you know what? We offered Devin Williams, or hey, you know what? You saw we just signed Devin. Did he reach out? Was there any not recruiting, or was there any kind of hey, you know what? I enjoyed or didn't enjoy my time with Devin Williams? That go into that process for you and your decision?
Yeah, nothing to those elaborate details. It just was simple. He signed pretty early, got an awesome deal for himself, well earned. Stud pitcher, great dude. Had a good relationship with him each and every day in the trenches there. I'm very grateful to be a teammate of his again. To him just be at his elite self and know what that looks like, and to feed off of that as well, and help him in any way I can. And, nothing recruiting wise, just, it all speaks for itself. I mean, the Mets are a big time organization who's successful. You've seen the last couple of years, and, being right there at the World Series, close to it. And then last year having a lot of success, and it just didn't go their way. So they got all the pieces. Juan, dear friend of mine, sent me a nice text when I signed, and we've stayed in touch off and on over the last year or so. But Clay Holmes, another one we've been in a lot of communication with, and the time we spent in New York on the Yankee side. But just really excited. I mean, they've obviously got a big thing going on over there. They've got some pieces they've moved, some things they've got to maybe continue to work out. I'm unaware. I just show up and play, but I'm very, very excited to be a part of it. And again, that market in New York is unbeatable in my opinion. And I just feel that intensity and that the pressure, just trying to arise to it and try to put out some quality work.
Luke, first of all, I thought Juan Soto lost everyone's phone number when he went to the Mets. Remember that whole thing last year? Remember? So, wow, okay. Because they said, he said, oh, I don't have anyone's phone number. I got a new phone. So apparently he liked you enough to give you his new phone number. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's nice to hear that he reached out to you. So that's good.
Well, what I'll make sure I clean up and say on his part, I had to, I did DM him on Instagram at a certain point, and then got his number through that. So, the timing of it, I'm not sure when it kind of aligned, but I'm definitely not here to mix up timelines and to mess that up. But it did come at a later date, but.
It doesn't even matter. It was just more funny that, because everyone said, oh, he didn't talk to any of his ex-teammates. So whatever. Yeah. It's just funny to me.
That's not the case. He's a great dude.
Do you and Devin Williams, are you guys just going to stay in the same place you lived last year? Do you have to move places in New York? Obviously for spring training, go from Tampa to Port St. Lucie. But in New York, do you stay? I don't know where you lived in New York. I'm not going to ask you where you live. But will you just go back to the same place and Devin do the same thing, and then just drive maybe a little bit different route, take the 7 train or tuck the Long Island Railroad into Queens instead of going to the Bronx?
Yeah, great question.
Well,
I'll
the
be in
better
a
thing is, will you take the wrong train? Will you maybe make the wrong
I'm not a
turn at
train
some
guy.
point if you do?
I'm not doing the train life. I'm a Florida guy. I like to live in the woods. I like peace and tranquility and staring at a deer every once in a while. Uh, has its benefits and such to be useful. I think Devin is more of that speed, and I'm sure he's got some insights to where he'll be, if not similar. I know he had a good spot there in the city, so for me, I'll be driving in, and like you said, it'll be a different route. Um, I'm sure this time I'll be hit with a toll or something, which add up, but it'll be okay. We'll just get back to the city.
Did the Mets talk to you like they talked to Clay Holmes about starting? Did they have a conversation and say, "Hey, you know what? There's a chance. We see what the adjustments you've made in the pen. Could we see you as a starter with the New York Mets?"
So yeah, that was an interesting feeler I threw out there at one point. I did have aspirations if that was something that was on the table, not necessarily something that I was like 100% wanting to do necessarily. I felt like the relieving life is kind of coming to my own on and finding ways to be more efficient and to try to be my best version of myself. A lot of the teams that I was communicating with, it was kind of the first question was, I guess, checking my temperature on what my goal was from a relieving or a starting standpoint. And I think basically 100% of them were all looking for a relieving position. So I don't think I take too much offense to that. I do feel like I would be a better starter than I was, and that's not to say that there's a big jump there. I mean, I didn't necessarily kill it, but I did have some moments. But I think relieving is the way to go.
Um, I like to do one of the reflective questions. So, if we go back, like you
Get
mentioned,
deep.
I mean, you've had some different spots you've been to, right? I would say, because I was trying to do the look as you were talking, like maybe 23. I think you bounced to a few different teams, right? And then ended up with the Yanks, and then of course, took off in the reliever role. I was even looking back to 2016, for example. I think you were battling for a starting spot with like Alex Reyes, who was super talented, and you just look, right, like he's been out of the sport for years, right? And it was a guy that we thought might be the best pitching prospect in baseball. So my reflective question is just like, when you do a look back and you sign a contract like this for big money with a big market team, do you think back to the whole journey just now?
I promised myself I wouldn't cry on this show. Um, no, yeah, I mean, I absolutely do. I don't necessarily give myself time to do that. I think we never really slow down. I think I just speak for myself. You just kind of get in the rhythms of the day. I do know for a fact that during the 2024 season, I had nothing to lose. It was just a complete like, I didn't know if I was going to play again. I just was at that mental battle of like injuries and just is this what I want to do? And then you get that spark of like, I'm not a quitter. Like I'll go until they tell me not. So there's just several times to that year where things to success just kind of continued to build. The positions changed out of the pen and just got kind of to cooler moments, higher leverage, and just had a lot of reflecting moments that kind of hit your question. That hit me the hardest then was just like where I was, what I went through, and my own journey, and to where I was now was just overwhelming. It was just a very peaceful, humbling, grateful time to just show up every day. And my two biggest prayers were just stay healthy and just be a good dude, just be a good teammate, show up and just be consistent. And I didn't really care. I mean, of course I cared to be successful, but I wasn't really asking of myself to like be good or bad. I just wanted to be healthy to see what was possible. Like if it was like, hey, you stink, you're not cut out for it anymore, like go get a different job, like sure, I'll do it. But if it works out the way you envision it and your confidence is at an all-time high and what you always thought you were going to be, then let's ride on that as well. And I hope whoever I shocked or whatever I did, like there's no shock in my mind, right? It was just a time where it just finally came. And I think that's the cool part about journeys and, especially in our game is like you could be good at 35, you could be good at 21, you could be good the whole time, you could stink the whole time. But I think lasting the course of time and to look back and to be like the percentages are pretty small each year you get to stay in the big leagues is a pretty cool and just humbling moment overall.
Agreed. But let's say one thing straight. You went to Florida State. There's not a lot of jobs you're qualified for. Okay?
Oh,
So
wow.
let's just make sure we establish that fact. Because you're like, oh, I could go find another job. I don't know what those jobs are. My wife went to Florida State. She doesn't work, so I don't know what.
We have Florida battling going on right now. We've got Mr. UF, Mr. UM, Mr. FSU.
Yes.
And if you want to have an alliance, I'm happy to do that against them.
I'm not going to comment on my wife by any means. I think that was very honorable of you to do that. I've looked at the Mets colors. The funny thing, right? I'm looking at the colors and I'm just going,
They're great,
boy.
aren't they?
Okay.
Aren't
See,
they
this
great?
is something I wasn't prepared for. My agents didn't tell me this. The team certainly didn't speak on it. And I didn't have that reflecting to think that this switch was going to be one of transition. I came across a FSU hat and it was near like a Mets shirt. And I'm just like, oh boy, those are just different colors, but I certainly can stand behind it and just kind of take like a small exception for my time wearing the gear. And then I'll just shower and make sure that I got the right garnet and gold on. But they do not correlate to be the same. UF is not the Mets.
That's about as Mets as you can get right there. I'm sorry. You can't get
right
much more
there
Mets.
Looks like a knockoff helmet. It looks pretty cheap.
This is not a knockoff.
It's just like it's like a retro, like you couldn't use their trademark, so you decided to paint it yourself.
No, this is. I have plenty of real ones. I just can't get up because I'm tethered in. This is real. This is Riddell. This is real. This is the real one.
That's fair. That's fair. We've
right, so are you in Florida right now? Are you in Florida? Do you still live in Florida?
I am currently in Tallahassee, Florida.
Oh, yeah. Even worse. Okay. That's fine. That's why you have the blanket. Everyone's commenting on how cozy that green blanket looks behind you. The thing about it is we're having a cold front here. So make sure that you bundle up with that blanket because it is freezing here. It's like 65 degrees here.
No, it's as low as 35 this morning.
We're 71 now.
Oh, so we got up to 71.
I did see what you saw around 50s. The lake. Yeah, you see people.
It was a bit cold this morning, right? And I was doing my quick 10 miles, CrossFit stuff. And,
you're bad. I'm really good at exercising.
That's why the weight's down. The training just is exponentially just super high. Here at Florida State, we put in the work ethic, that's for sure.
How much did you give to the new football complex? Because I've seen it. It's pretty snazzy.
Unfortunately, I feel like they got to prove themselves to get back on the high horse here because I'm not a fair weather fan, but I know when I went to school, we won a national championship, and my good friend Jay Boo Wins was leading the pack then and there. So my expectations are pretty high. I know it's a process, but at the end of the day, we only have what we know, and what I know is success, and I've seen it, and I just need to see it again.
Luke, ask how many national championships the UF got when AJ went to school there, like when he went to class there.
I don't know. Or is that like a prime?
Some of us skip college. Some of you have to go to college. Some of us skip it. But I've seen them win 6.
So you just pick a team.
I've seen them win 6, though.
You
didn't go to UF?
Actually.
No, he didn't even attend any classes.
My daughter goes there. Does that count?
See, it's not even.
We are having this entire conversation, and you never attended.
He's a fanatic.
My money goes there.
He's a fanatic.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, I'm feeling a lot better about myself. Thank you.
He sends educational donations.
I just can't wait to see you in Port St. Lucie, and I might even bring you a Gators baseball jersey to wear and just be like, "Hey, Luke, look, these colors match perfectly."
I did take a visit to Florida. And then I just said, nah, I'm going to go to Florida State.
Yeah. You couldn't get in. We get it. You had a hard time spelling Weaver. I get it.
I was
It's
trying
understood.
to two-way. I was trying to play shortstop and pitch. So, I mean, you can look however you want.
Hey, on that note, one more baseball one on our way out, just playoff related to get us back on track for one. I think last time you were on with us, you talked about Yamamoto and how you were a big fan and also kind of watched the way he worked and it impacted you. So just have to ask, I mean, what did you think of the performance just now from him in the postseason / World Series?
I mean, it was a bit unreal, right? Like it's, you watch your Otanis, you watch those guys do like unbelievable stuff, and then from a pitching side, right, you just want to see some love. And I just don't think people, and I think you guys understand this just as well as I do, the magnitude of him being available to pitch that soon. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, it's taken me a full 5 days up to the hour to the minute of pitching as a starter to be ready to go, fully healthy, to feel decent. And he's doing it after throwing however many pitches. Like, it's unfathomable. Like, I don't know how you replicate that in any other sport, to do what he did at that stage and to do it successfully. And, I also want to give a big shout out to, and I don't know him, but Varlin. They were running him out like crazy. And it was just so impressive to see his availability and to be able to do that successfully and have his run too. So it's really cool to see when players just kind of push on the gas and just empty it, and just to see success through it is just a really cool thing to sit back and watch.
Yeah, I think it's cool to hear from guys like you when you're seeing that. So obviously you've been through the playoff grind too, but to get your perspective.
They should try that at Florida State. Maybe they'll win a College World Series. Oh, wait, sorry. Too soon. Sorry.
Look, that would have hurt a lot more if you would have went to UF. But it is devastating. Exactly. So thank you for bringing it up.
This is my time right now. I get 1 week.
You do. He's a Miami guy, so he doesn't even watch football, but he's on Miami.
My whole family.
You must be stressed
my whole family. Out. We've got like eight cousins. Everybody went. So this is a big week for us.
It is.
We get to have our 1 week. Yeah. Luke, great stuff, man. Great to have you on. In all seriousness, congratulations on the deal, and yeah, we're excited to see you in camp.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for what you do, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks. Yes, sounds good. Appreciate you. That's Luke Weaver. Shake it up. All right, we're going to get to some quick hitter news. So let's start with Freddie Freeman actually dropping out of the World Baseball Classic for Team Canada for personal reasons. I mean,
what are the reasons?
I don't know, but also Freddie's in the playoffs every year. He's getting up there. I mean, I know you want to represent
so is
the country
Ohtani,
and
and
do your thing.
He's
That's fair.
Dying to go back.
In fairness, I can say this with confidence. Team Canada's not winning the World Baseball Classic. I know that's not a great excuse, and you want to see Freddie there, but 2 years ago, he was going through the ankle. I don't know. You never know what someone's going through, and he wants to be geared up for the Dodgers this year to try and three-peat.
How is Jamison Taillon Canadian?
What do you mean? He just is.
I don't
Where
know.
was he born?
He's from Houston. He was born in Florida, wasn't he?
Born in Lakeland.
Yeah. I mean, Lakeland's not, a metropolis, but it's also not Canada.
You did your homework on that one, didn't you?
I think he played. I mean, he was with that like original crew of really good starting pitchers, like Francis, Taillon, and then like Filippo Mont. Like they had some
Ryan Dempster.
They had some LaRue. Well, after Dempster, but Chris LaRue, like all those guys.
This is, I think, the same connection that Freddie Freeman has, because Freddie never lived in Canada.
Freddie's parents were Canadian.
His parents, and for Jamison, his mother is Canadian.
Oh, okay.
So there was no living in. Living in is not a requirement.
I just didn't know what the connection was there. So good for him. Listen, you get to play, and if you're not going to be on USA, I mean, Freddie maybe could have been on USA, but he's also said, I'm playing for Canada the last 2 times, so he was definitely someone the Canadians were counting on.
Mm-hmm.
Good for Freddie. Whatever. We'll ask him when we go to Dodger camp.
Yeah, huge blow to the Canadian team.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's
Poor
their
Ernie
best player.
Witt. Ernie Witt's been the manager for Team Canada for every year, for WBC, for the qualifiers. Ernie Witt and Larry Walker, two stalwarts, and Leaper, the third base coach for the Padres, and then Stubby Clapp, Canadian legends.
Well, Canada's got it good right now with baseball, so they might not win the WBC, but the Blue Jays are looking damn good. All right, let's do quick hitter signings. I'm going to start with Ryan Stanek going to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Cool.
You're like, meh, okay. I mean,
Well, good for Ryan Stanek.
yeah, he's coming off a
You know what's going to
a
happen?
down year for him.
You know what's going to happen? He's going to go out and ball out, and in July they're going to be like, "Hey, Ryan, you're going to a new team."
Bingo. 1 year, $3.5 million, and a $6 million club option for the year after that. It's actually big. I mean, if he performs well, he could be worth that number. But yeah, he's coming off again. I know ERA is not the end all be all for a reliever, but it was one of his worst years ERA wise, 5.30. The walks were up, but stuff wise, there's still a lot to like there. I mean, the big fastball splitter, a couple breaking balls, that play. So the Cardinals have actually had some success with this. Phil Maton last year.
This is what you should do if you're not trying to win, which the Cardinals have kind of said we're not really trying to win.
Right.
You go out and you sign these veteran guys to cheaper deals, and then you trade them at the deadline and you get something back. Maybe that person helps you this year, next year, 2 years from now. And they say, man, we got this guy for Ryan Stanek for those 3 months where we had Ryan Stanek.
It's exactly what you should be doing if you're the Cardinals and you're in rebuild mode. Next up, the Cincinnati Reds woke up this offseason after falling asleep post losing the Kyle Schwarber sweepstakes, and they signed Pierce Johnson, 1 year, $6.5 million. Great for the Reds bullpen to strengthen it a little bit. They also brought back Emilio Pagan. So the Reds bullpen should be strong. They've done a really nice job in terms of pitching talent. You know, it's something that you thought you'd never see, right? There were times in life where you'd watch the Reds and be like, damn, I mean, it's so difficult in that ballpark. You know, all the pitchers get lit up and you're like, all right, maybe the ballpark's changed and maybe like in terms of, you know, how the baseball's playing there, but also this team has, I think, put a pretty strong emphasis on improving their pitching. Development, of course, but also Kratz just spending more on pitching, drafting pitching very consistently, right? The famous move of Chase Burns over Charlie Condon, which might turn out really well for them. So thoughts on the Reds doing a little high leverage reliever ad here?
I love the high leverage reliever ad. Every team needs it. They had a taste of the playoffs. So you know you need that when it comes down to it. And you got to find somebody. You got to find somebody that's like, this guy didn't work as a starter. So we threw him in the pen and he became our third guy. If you have Pagan and you have Pierce Johnson and then you have that guy, now you have a three-headed beast at the end. But they started this back in 2019 after the 18 season when they brought Derek Johnson over. You talk about a team, the Reds, who you're like, you said it, Scott. Nobody can pitch in Cincinnati. It's too small. No pitchers want to get there. They went out and they got, in my opinion, one of the best pitching coaches available in DJ, Derek Johnson, who was the pitching coach for the Brewers. And they said, we're going to give you, the industry gives out, 2-year deals to pitching coaches. They gave him an extra year. Like, they went above and beyond in an area where it was like, it's a weakness to be, to have some good pitching in Cincinnati. And since then, they've kind of built it to what it is. You've gotten a lot of value out of the extension that you signed from Hunter Green. He seems to be taking the next step. Can they continue that? To me, if they do continue it, because they have over the last 3 years of just slightly increasing and changing and making adjustments, each pitcher getting better and better. And then finally the offense, which I thought was going to be the part of the organization that carried them. Maybe some of those guys step up, those young guys that everyone's, so much promise, had this year, this injury, now they got to come back, steroid use, all that stuff. They should score runs. But right now, they're just run prevention.
Yeah. They're a bat short, in my mind, from feeling really good. And maybe they continue to play the song and dance with the White Sox over Luis Robert. Maybe there's someone else there involved, and you always see that connection with those two where clearly they're not in line, and I'm betting they're not in line more on the money side than the prospect side, but trying to improve at the margins. If there's one thing Pierce Johnson can do, it's sling a curveball.
Yeah.
He's at, now 2 years of about 3/4 of his pitches the curve. So you like the variety of the bullpen. If you need a curveball guy, you got him. Are we supposed
to look at the Reds lineup and go, yes, all these guys are just mediocre 1.2 to 1.5 win players or 107 OPS plus? Like, when is O'Neill Cruz going to take the next step? Is Matt McClain's surgery, the injury he had to his shoulder, the one that's
going to O'Neill or Ellie?
What did I say?
O'Neill, I think.
Ellie did, yeah. I meant Ellie de la Cruz. I'm not O'Neill Cruz.
Yep.
But, Spencer Steer has always been the guy. TJ Friedel's a guy that drives in a ton of runs, kind of more of an unassuming player. Noelvi Marte made some beautiful plays in right field last year as he made that transition. Were his numbers before inflated because of steroids? Like, I don't think there's an organization. I don't think there's a position player core that's as young and underachieving as the Reds, probably not to the extent of like the Orioles. The Orioles, they have a great young core that you're like, all right, these guys need to take the next step too. But in that case, Gunnar Henderson has taken the next step. Gunnar Henderson's proven he can be a star. Who in this Reds core can prove that they're going to be a star, or are they all just kind of like Ellie, where it's like so much potential, but nobody wants to take that next step?
Solid players. They of course would love a superstar.
It would be nice to see him. I know they tried for Schwarber, Bichette, or Bellinger, somebody like that. Just a veteran guy that could really do some damage. It won't happen, but they found a way because they said, Schwarber would help us sell tickets. Well, so will Bo Bichette and so will Cody Bellinger.
Why would he help sell tickets? Because he's from there? Because he went – I mean, what are you going to get? You're going to get the local, Cincinnati high school local night? You sell an extra 30 tickets? Like, I think that's if that's really what they're saying, to me, I think that's a tired excuse. He's going to help the team because of all the things I just mentioned. They have a good young core that he's going to get these dudes to be like, I don't want to say be out there every day because, like, that's not fair to that team to say, oh, they don't want to be out. No, I think Ellie played through injuries last year. Matt McClain was coming back from his shoulder surgery. Like, there's a lot of things. I just think there is that piece, and I think Schwarber would have been an awesome piece to add to that. But some of these guys need to step up, and I think if they do step up and they hit closer to their potential, I think the Reds are dangerous, even in the Central, with Bregman going to the Cubs.
Mm-hmm. Good call. All right, let's flip it to the AL Central. Our next guest is ready to go. Here comes new Chicago White Sox pitcher Sean Newcomb on the show. Sean, great to have you on board here, and congratulations on signing up a few weeks back. How you doing? Thanks for coming on, and tell us how it went down.
Hey, what's up, guys? Doing good. Excited to get that finally squared away. But, yeah, I mean, I was just looking for a place to go and just eat up innings in really any way that, the team wanted me to. So, felt like a good fit.
Do you have a White Sox hat on?
No. I knew you were going to ask me that. It's a fear of God has, but.
I was going to say, damn, dude, you're off to a bad start. When you first flipped it, I thought it was a Detroit hat. I was like, no. Wait a second, Sean. We played together a long, long time ago, but we need to have a chat here before you get to the South Side.
No, just the brand. You guys, I wouldn't do that.
Okay, yeah, that's the brand.
Yeah. It has the big MLB logo. I didn't know the Fear of God got to do the big MLB logos.
So you played with him a while
back.
I
played in spring training when he first got traded over.
Now, maybe you gave him a line of advice back then. What's
I
your
don't know.
advice
He
for
threw
him
to
now?
me one time, and we're not going to talk about what happened. I don't know if he remembers exactly what happened. I didn't want to bring it up. So
I don't remember. No, was it in a
exactly.
batting cage?
I've told this story. It was in the cages one day. And I'm sorry, Sean. I didn't know if I should tell this story if it's appropriate or not, but we're here now. Scott brought it up.
Yeah.
You had just gotten traded over from the Angels for Andrelton Simmons, and they said, "Hey, you got to come catch this. We got this guy in a trade. We're super excited about it. You got to come catch him." In the bullpen, it was raining, so I'm in this bullpen. It's a cage. They got the nets and everywhere. he didn't throw a strike. Like it was not even close.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, he was nervous because it's you.
So after he gets done, I go to Roger McDowell was our pitching coach. I go, Roger, man, that wasn't very good. He goes, he was nervous. I said, well, what was he nervous about? Like, he goes, well, I asked him that. Roger says, I asked Sean why he was so nervous. He goes, well, I'm throwing to the big league catcher. And Roger says, I looked at Sean and I go, well, if you make the big leagues, you're going to be throwing to the big league catcher too.
Yeah, that was years
So,
before.
anyways, that was like my
grown a
one
lot.
Sean Newcomb story, and now you've gone on to have a tremendous career. So, I am proud that I was the first big league catcher you got to throw to.
Yeah, that was way back. I'm pretty sure it was Disney. It was pouring rain. It was a weird
Yes, exactly. It was freezing cold. It was raining. It was in the cage. I was so old I couldn't even throw the ball back because you have to throw it like this high. So I was like rolling it back to
Skipping
him,
it.
right? Yeah. Anyways, but you've gone on to have a tremendous career. You obviously had a nice run with the Braves. You've been to a bunch of teams now. What did the White Sox say to you? You said you want to eat innings. What's your role going to be? Are you going to be a starter? Are you going to be a bulk guy in the middle, a late inning guy? Because you've kind of done a bunch of different things now throughout your career.
Yeah, the goal is to start and, just get to that, the most innings possible and kind of continue what I was able to do last year once I got settled back in. But like you said, I'm kind of prepared to do whatever it takes. I know they do have some young guys coming up starter wise, but just for me and where I'm at in my career, getting some starts in, hopefully as many as possible, up to 30, and just kind of taking that next step, building on what I did last year is my main goal. And I've also been in, with the A's a little bit here the past few years, and kind of a lot of younger guys, and been in the position of being one of the older guys already. So just looking forward to kind of taking that under, just getting going with that and just leading by example as any way I can.
What does that look like, building your innings up? You had 92 last year. Obviously, you haven't eclipsed 100 since your first 2 years in the big leagues. What does that look like? Because no player, and maybe you can tell me if I'm wrong, but no player goes in the offseason and is like, if I just have a mediocre first half, like you're working out and you're like, dude, I'm going to kill it the first half. I'm probably going to make the all-star team. I got 15 starts under my belt. What does that look like in the sense of like, oh man, I want to get 30 starts, but I haven't done that in a bit, where, you're going to go into uncharted territory. And what kind of conversations does the team have about that? Are they like, yeah, we'll take 30 starts, but we'll trade you halfway through the year?
Yeah, it's definitely, one of those things you're thinking about, just the reality of the situation, how it kind of pans out. For me, it's in my mind, going from like 90 or so innings and getting toward like 140, 150 doesn't sound that crazy, just because in my mind I've always been, a starter and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, just haven't done it. And that's kind of just where we lean on the off-season prep, the strength, the conditioning, all that kind of stuff. And also just like the way I've been pitching, especially last year, it's been a lot less stressful. Finally kind of flipping it from when I used to throw to AJ and throwing a lot more strikes and keeping things in the zone, and actually pitching is definitely going to make it a lot less stressful.
Yeah, strikes are easy. Sean, I'm going to give you some old man advice. Strikes are always good, okay? No matter what. Even if they hit them out of the park, they're still better than walks, I promise you. Nobody on earth has ever been like, yeah, exactly. You're at what? You're 32 years old. I think when I saw you were like 25, 23, 24. So we're a little bit. We've grown up in our old age, okay? So I'm proud of you. How much are you looking forward to the White Sox? Okay, like you said, they've kind of said they're going to give you an opportunity to do this. This will be really. This is probably going to be like your real first time where your role going to spring training. How much are you looking forward to that? Being the veteran, one of the veteran guys on the staff.
Yeah, it's kind of been looking for it for a while. I think with the Braves 17, 18, I was starting to get rolling, and then kind of just hit some speed bumps and never got to do that, where I was showing up in camp and knew what was going to happen. So that's definitely a good feeling, just kind of being able to just kind of not have to worry about that, just going and knowing I'm going to be working with these guys for the full year. I'm pretty familiar with some of the younger dudes. They have some young pitchers from the Mass, Boston area where I'm from. So Shane Smith, Mike Vassell, I know them pretty well. Got an old Angels pitching coach that's the bullpen coach now, Matt Wise. So there's some familiar faces that'll help get it going. And then I spent some time with the Cubs, so I loved Chicago, and that was kind of one of the appeals, looking at both those teams in free agency. Just good city that I was familiar with, and then again, similar situation to being the older guy again after I was that the past couple of years, and just looking forward to getting going with that young group.
Can you explain to us your free agency process? Because normally there's not just one team when a guy gets a big league deal. It's not quite the same offer, but everybody's, people will say, well, why did you choose the White Sox over, you just talked about the Cubs too. Like, what is that? What's that? What did you prioritize when teams were coming after you? Because we all know there's collusion and the numbers are all the same, but each situation is completely different.
Yeah, that was the tough part, was kind of going through the situations and seeing, the reality of, maybe it's like, say, if I were to sign back in Boston and the starters that they do have and all those different kind of things, just where you fall on the depth chart. And that was the biggest thing, I think, was looking just for opportunity to kind of, build on the 92 innings last year. And, like you said before, trying to get to those 30 starts and everything. That was the main goal, obviously, aside from money. And then, like you said, with the collusion and everyone just, absolutely lowballing and everyone coming in at the same exact number somehow and all these different things. So that was my first time dealing with it. It was eye-opening even more than I already kind of had an idea of. But for me, the number one thing was just opportunity. And then, just being around those young guys, like I was saying, hopefully we'll kind of build together and have a good year.
How was it going to Sacramento last year? After pitching in the Coliseum, we heard what Sevy said, Luis Severino said about the mound. How tough was that? And was that really something? And did it improve partway through the season once they started listening to pitchers and how to improve the mound?
I'd say the game mound might have got a little bit better. It was super inconsistent though. Like even the bullpen mound, if you went out there, it's not your typical clay. It's not your typical like red or brown clay. It was like this black, chunked up material that just would, you felt like it was the seventh inning after you threw 10 pitches kind of thing. And that's just, I actually was with the River Cats in Sacramento in 23 with the Giants for a second. So I was familiar with the area and what, just like the way the facilities were. They didn't make too many changes other than kind of just prettying up the pads around the walls. They put a little building in the left corner for a clubhouse and all that stuff. And they definitely did the least they had to do to kind of get it ready. But like you said, coming from the Coliseum, things were so outdated there. It was kind of hard to get a good grasp on it, especially for the dudes who don't have any other experiences. You kind of feel for them because they're playing in a AAA ballpark, and you heard Sevy talk about it with just the inconsistencies. You go on the road and you're like, God, this is what the show is, and then you kind of go back to Sac. But I think they did a good job. Kratz and the crew did a good job keeping everyone kind of just focused on baseball and focused on each other and not worrying about those kind of little things. I hope for all those dudes that they do get out of there and get to Vegas and that all goes smoothly so they can all experience the full show. But overall, it was pretty wishy-washy. It wasn't ideal.
How would you explain it, the full show? Because people will say, oh, well, they got to go to the big leagues at 81 games. How would you explain it to those guys who are like, yeah, 81 big league games on the road is different than 81 big league home games?
Yeah, the biggest thing is the clubhouse isn't even connected to the dugout. So you got guys waiting for half innings to run down the track. So that just the image of that alone, pretty crappy looking. And then just the lack of the second and third deck, just a feel for that. You play in division, you show up in Texas, Seattle, you walk out, you look up and you see, the roof, and you can just feel the atmosphere versus you just kind of step out in Sac and you just have like your, the one level, it's like 105 degrees and everything just feels like burned out. So, it's still the show, you're still getting your paycheck, you're still getting treated well in the clubhouse with the staff and with all these good players and everything. But it definitely misses just a touch of, like I said, the show.
Sean, do you feel like you had an advantage? That team has a lot of young arms, and at some point, early on actually in the season, the pitching kind of fell apart for 4 to 6 weeks, and that knocked the A's out of playoff contention. If you take that out, which you can't do, but if you take that out, the rest of the year, like, they were pretty good. You go over there, your numbers were freaking sparkling, right? This is how, it turned into the interest that you had in the offseason, the success you had over there. Do you think any of that had to do with you being able to maybe handle some of the, crappy parts of being in a minor league park? Or do you think it just had more to do with some tweaks that you were making, whether it's pitch mix or otherwise?
I'd say I kind of got my stuff dialed in spring when I got with the Red Sox and just, the analytical stuff. Found out.
Phone call.
Phone call. I think he'll come back.
Got called up to the big leagues.
I was excited for that one. That answer.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be back.
Just waiting.
Yeah.
He's had a nice career, man. I'm telling you, that bullpen he threw was like the worst bullpen I've ever seen a kid in big league camp throw. I'm sorry. I didn't even want to bring it up, but it was just brought up. But he was a good kid, man, and I'm glad he worked out for him.
It's funny to laugh about.
It was funny to laugh about because here he is now, 10 years later, signing with my team, and they're counting on him to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
As a catcher in spring training, you definitely get to catch some of those guys. And as a backup catcher, I probably caught more of those types of guys than you did, AJ, because AJ's like, well, if he's not going to be on the big league team, what's the point of catching him? But so it's cool. I remember tons like that. Dudes that were like, oh, that guy's unbelievable. And dudes who poop their pants like Sean did.
Hey,
you're back.
There we go. He's back. All right.
Is Sean in a closet, by the way? Can we establish where he's at right now? Because there's a broom behind.
I'm at an office right now.
Yeah, there's like
car dealership.
You buying a car? Oh. You buying a car?
I am, yeah.
What are we buying? Let's hear what we're buying.
I upgraded my Escalade, new Escalade.
Uncle Jerry's buying you a new Escalade. Nice.
Oh, thanks, Jerry.
Yes, thank you, Jerry. I'm so happy I get a new car.
What was that? Where were we?
We were at so you were starting to explain the factors in the minor league park of Sacramento versus the changes that you made that really fired up in Boston, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was talking about the adjustments I made when I got to camp with Boston. Just finding out where my off speed kind of played and learned a little more about my sinker, which has been new the past couple of years. And that, I went into my 5 starts, felt really strong. I feel like usually for me, it's like a 15-ish innings or so, and then I really kind of get rolling, and that's where I was at, about, maybe 20 innings, and then kind of got shoved in the pen once everyone got healthy, and I was still feeling really good about stuff. So I had some like 4 or 5 inning outings out of the pen where I felt like I did really well, and then everything kind of fell into place there where they had to make some moves, got moved over to the Athletics, and I kind of just knew where I was at, knew the team. It helped obviously being familiar with everybody and Sacramento and everything, and then just kind of got into like a grindy mentality and just knew I had to kind of buckle down there for like 3-4 months, and it would lead me to kind of where we're at now. So it felt good to just kind of, be like the older guy and lead by example and answer questions for certain dudes. And it kind of just all happened together and went well.
Yeah, it's great. My last one is, what do you think of Murakami? Have you seen any video of him, and what are guys saying?
Haven't seen too much other than just like the hype right around when he was signing. But I don't know, it looks like some serious power. Big, seems like he's like 6'3", 6'4", big kind of dude. I'm excited to see what he can do.
Nobody's more excited than this guy sitting next to me.
Finally, they brought in a guy that can hit some homers for you guys.
Offense looked good in the second half.
They did.
Yeah.
They got some young players. You might be pleasantly surprised, Sean, when you get into camp and see how they have some young players that are exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Montgomery 6'4" shortstop. That's exciting, and that's a nice swing. I was looking at that. Teal too. Those are some nice lefty strokes.
For sure.
Teal's a good dude.
Yeah, he is a good dude.
We've had him on once or twice. Well, Sean, this was great, man. Really appreciate you stopping by. AJ will be watching every White Sox game. Last year and the year before might have been a little tougher, but this is the diehard fan right here, so he'll be watching, all right?
Don't disappoint me, Sean. Don't disappoint me.
You already did that once.
What?
With his bullpen thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you put so much pressure on him.
Yeah, so much pressure by me trudging over there like, oh gosh, what am I doing here? At 39 years old, I'm trudging over there like Yeah.
Like, why are we out here?
Yeah, exactly. That was it. Why am I here right now? It's raining and it's 50 degrees. What am I
Because
doing?
we pay you to be here.
I'm going to get pneumonia.
Well, appreciate it, Sean. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you at camp.
We'll see you in Arizona.
Yep. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. That's Sean Newcomb, new Chicago White Sox pitcher. Let's hit Hot Corner on Friday at 3:02 p.m., 2 minutes after Foul Territory Live ended. We received a press release that Max Kepler has been suspended 80 games for PED usage. He is a free agent. As John Heyman noted, Captain Obvious, this will not help his free agency. He tested positive for something that I don't even know how to pronounce, so you can go online and look up more on it. We're not going to do science territory. That show doesn't come out until June of 2027. But in all seriousness, not good for the player.
No, not good.
Nope.
I mean, now a team will be like, hey, Max, we'll sign you for 1 year, $1 million. And oh, by the way, you lose half of that before you start. I mean, that's basically what he's going to have to do, and then suck it up for 80 games. You know what he was hoping? He was hoping he would sign before this news broke, a la Jerks and Profar, right?
Yeah, but Profar, you think tested? I think that
I don't know
happens.
what the timing.
No, that's after.
Again, I don't know the timing.
The league will give. I mean, they're probably not. I don't know how it all goes behind the scenes, but if somebody did test positive, I feel like a team would know about it. Is that what you know?
Absolutely not.
So then you would just sign him and then find out, hey, surprise,
Team
PEDs.
They don't know.
Team knows nothing about it. Even if you're on a team knows nothing about it. You're the first one, only one. So anytime it's ever released beforehand, appealing or anybody, that's been released by the player. So there's they could have signed him. And then they've been like, wait, you knew about this? To me, this timing, it was an off-season test. And we might talk about Andrew McCutchen's off-season test before, but this, because you always get an appeal process. You get an appeal, whether players take it or not, that's up to them, whether they want to fight it. No, it was, I went to Mexico, I ate a steak, I didn't do it, I don't know. Who knows what he did, but they are the only ones to know. Teams do not know. The league does not know. Players Association does not know. I think the Players Association is actually the second. Maybe they're the second one notified, but I know the teams do not know.
The whole steak in Mexico.
It gets me every time, man. That's why I don't eat steaks in Mexico.
I avoid those. Now I can have them. I don't care. Test me. But in all seriousness.
Listen, can we show the Andrew McCutchen stuff? Because I find this is the part.
We can't talk about this at all anymore? That's it?
Well, I mean, what are we going to
nothing
say?
else to
Max
say?
Kepler, don't cheat. You got caught. Bang. That's it. And people in the chat, I don't know his numbers, saying his numbers went way up in July. So maybe that was it. But anyways, this is what happens. If this was an offseason test, I don't know if Kratz, I'm sure he got tested in the offseason, but they call you and they say, hey, are you home? And you're like, no. And when will you be home? And if you say in an hour, they'll be like, all right, there'll be someone at your house in an hour. Or if you're out of town, you're like, I'll be home on January 15th. And they'll be like, all right, there'll be a guy there to test you, like right here.
Kratz said nothing like the CDT,
which is the testing,
coming to my house on a Sunday. I got 5 kids in church, but let's get that urine sample real quick, Unc. And then he gave us more. Update. I didn't give enough of a urine sample, so I'm currently outside in this Pittsburgh weather, shirtless, to see if that will speed this process up. I live for this. Update. That worked.
Yeah, I mean,
you have to let them know if you're.
Well, they call you, so you get a number, and you get this random phone call, and they'll say, "Oh, this is CDT, blah blah blah. Are you home?" And if you say yes, they say, "Okay, well, there'll be a guy at your house or a girl. There'll be a CDT agent at your house in the next 45 minutes." Or if you say, "No, I'm out of town. I'm on vacation. I'll be home Tuesday at 8 o'clock." They'll be like, "All right, there'll be someone there at 8:30. I remember one time at my house, the guy showed up at like 7 in the morning and I had breakfast for him. I'm like, you want some donuts and some coffee while we're sitting here? Because when you wake up, you you pee. Most people wake up when they urinate when they have to
Yeah.
wake up. So then you're like, all right, well, how do I get this to get right? So you got to start drinking water, and you just got to sit there because the guy just sits there and watches you in your house. He's just like sitting at the counter, like.
So you guys share some donuts and coffee, and then
I mean, what are you
going.
supposed to do?
Don't drink too much.
You can't go anywhere.
Don't drink too much
Too much what?
because it could
Coffee or water.
get diluted. If you
Yep.
can't pee enough, then you drink too much and the sample's too diluted. The one time they got me in the afternoon, and every time I would go work out, I drop my kids off at school, work out from 8 to 11, and I would drink a gallon of water while I was working out. My pee's pretty clear. The guy calls. I'm like, okay. He comes over early afternoon. Nope, sorry, sample's too clear. Stop drinking. Well, stop drinking, but you need more pee. So I'm supposed to be dehydrated. One time I got the CDT guy, and they had to coordinate somebody to come and take my blood at the same time. So they had two people sitting in my house taking blood, taking pee. Another time I was at a conference out in Colorado Springs. Beautiful hotel right on the lake. I'm not even sure what the hotel was called. 5-star hotel. This dude's got to come to the either public bathroom, because they called me and they're like, "Are you home?" I was like, "No, I'm in Colorado Springs." And they said, well, we need to come and visit you in your hotel. So I'm at this conference with my wife, Professional Athletes Outreach it was called, and they were like, well, can we go into the public bathroom in the hotel? I was like, no, I'm not going to the bathroom with another dude. So we went up to my hotel room, and I'm in my hotel room, and I'm like, why am I in my hotel room with a drug testing guy? Like, what is this happening? What is going on? So yeah, they're everywhere, and they'll find you. They will find you. They called me after I quit.
Yeah.
They called me after I quit. They were like, hey, we're going to come to your house. Are you home? I was like, I quit playing. Longest pause ever. The woman on the phone was like, all right.
That was it. She didn't get
That
the
was it.
news. Do you want to know why you were in a bathroom in your hotel room with a tester? Max Kepler. Jerks in Profar. Let's go down the line. This is why, because they catch people.
But see, here's what people used to do, and this is something that needs to also be said, is the reason why they have the dilution test and all that is what guys would do is when they were doing things, and then they stopped allowing you to go in the hot tub, and they stopped allowing you to go into the cold tub because guys were doing stuff, and then they would they would be like, oh, I don't have to pee. They go, well, I got to get my work done post game. They go in the hot tub, they go in the cold tub, they drink a ton of water, and they'd pee in the hot and the cold tub. And they just keep drinking water. I can't pee.
Oh, clear
I
the
can't pee.
system
And then
out.
it would come out to where it was clear and it was too diluted to test.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, okay, well, you can't test today. You're too diluted. And that's how the guys got past these things. So now they banned you post game from going in the hot tub and the cold tub because they're like, nope, you got to pee and you got to pee first before. And these dudes follow you everywhere. If they're there pregame, they follow you everywhere you go. They're right behind you.
Yeah,
on the field, they watch you on the field. They watch you come in.
They're heroes, though, because they have saved so many hot tubs and cold tubs from being just yellow piss nastiness.
No, people would drain them. You knew if the hot tubs were drained in the middle of the day, that's what was going on. Somebody was trying to clear their system. Saw it plenty of times. I saw pitchers go out to the bullpen. The guy can't go into the bullpen, so he watches you, and they would go out to the bullpen and they would pee in the bullpen bathroom. They would make the testing guy stay all day long. And look, like people are all talking about the fact that he hit 216, like he's on steroids, those steroids sucked, all that stuff. Or maybe he hit 216 and he was like, I don't want to do that again. And he was looking for a performance enhancer then.
Yeah. Do you guys start to think, oh, how long has this been going on when you hear about this? I'm trying to get the player perspective.
It's always been going on. It's been going on since forever.
With the individual person. Like when
course.
he shows up to camp, if he signs a deal, is everybody going to be like, well, I'm looking back that 2019 when he took off, what?
It's always a question.
What happened?
It's always a question now, forever.
Yeah.
Forever. Rob, I look at the biggest example. Well, A-Rod, we all know in his whole thing.
Sure.
Like, when did he start? He says, "Oh, I only hit 5 homers on my."
Okay.
Come on, dude. Like, I know people that said you were doing them way back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you never know. Robinson Cano, that's a big thing with Robinson Cano. Like, oh, he tested positive in Seattle, but was he doing them with A-Rod back in New York? We're not blaming or accusing anybody, but those are questions that are asked now, kind of like, especially players, right? Players are like, well, is this guy doing these because this back then? We don't know. So it's always going to be there once you test positive.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks, but don't do drugs, kids.
But it's just as applicable as anything else in life. Very rarely does somebody get caught for a DUI the very first and only time they had some drinks and they went and drove. Like, you've been testing the limit for a little while. Like, the guys that I know that have tested positive for steroids were not one-time offenders. They had snuck, especially now with all that we know about masking agents and everything, and always being ahead of the testing, trying to keep up, all that stuff. They're skirting by. Nobody ever tests me. Like, I live in this place. Nobody ever tests. I'm here. Like, I'm willing to take the chance for, what did Kepler get? $10 million? Until the money is taken away from guys who test positive, you're always going to have it out there. And as soon as somebody tests positive, Scott, your question was, do you think it was more than that? Yeah, I do. And I think my view has come way down from when, 2008, 2009, where everybody that had a career year, I was like, career year, came into camp, best shape of his life, 20 pounds bigger. I'm like, I'm grinding away in the weight room, no weight change, no like body change like that. And these dudes come in and they're just completely different units. Yeah, like that was what I thought all the time. And I voiced it before with Jerks and Profar. Like, you just don't gain, like, there's anomalies in the sport, but those anomalies are like dudes who make swing changes at 22, not at 30 in your platform year, and then you get $50 million.
Right. It causes suspicion. And that's why, as funny as some of the process is, it's important for the game. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, even more dudes would be doing it. Ryan in the chat said, whoa, are we listening to 2 former players picking up on suspicious things teammates did to avoid failing a drug test? Is that enabling cheating then? I don't think everybody's locked into YouTube right now being like, I got to get tips from Kratz and AJ on what they saw their teammates doing. I don't think it's that far. Maybe he's saying that I enabled it because one of my teammates decisions. I think that's what he's saying is I should have turned my teammate in for what? Like, there was other things that guys took, not just steroids, right? Like, that they wanted to get out of their system. Like, they're testing for more than just steroids. So, like, that's like, am I making like judgments based on what my teammates are doing? Like, you saw it and you went about your career. You knew that other guys were doing it. I told the story before here. I knew one of my ex-teammates, he gave me his apartment, and my wife went and got groceries while I was on the road. She got back and started putting them in our new apartment in our fridge, and there was HGH vials in the syringes were in the refrigerator. Like, was I supposed to turn in my ex-teammate who wasn't on the team anymore because he was taking HGH? Like, I don't think that I'm not supposed to do that. Am I? It's not your job. No, that's not your job.
That's not your job.
You're not the baseball testing.
Listen,
police.
I tell you what, you want to lose faith in all your teammates really fast. Talk about things that are happening in a clubhouse, not on the road, whatever. Like, it's nobody's business. It's not. It's not. And also, unless I actually see somebody inject themselves and I know exactly what's in the needle and all that, I don't know what they're doing. They could be diabetic and they got to get some, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. You can't. It's like when I do a game for Fox, right? And someone gets hurt. I don't speculate on what they hurt because I don't know and I don't want to be wrong, right? Because I remember we did a game not long ago. I did a game, and our stat guy had heard that so-and-so broke their arm, and the play-by-play guy goes, oh, they broke their arm. And I'm like, no, they didn't. Like, you just can't speculate on that kind of stuff because you don't know.
Yeah. Not with the medicals.
Medicals,
careful.
but also I don't know what guys are doing. And then you know what? It's none of my business what people are doing.
No, and it's just not your job. I mean, the league's job, that's the point of the league. And I mean, this is a joint thing, the league and the player side. They come up with an agreement on who's going to police this, and then there are paid professionals, and the organization gets paid a lot of money, the CDT, to regulate all of this stuff. All right. Anyway, I want to get to two more things quick here, two little moves. Tyler Kinley signs with the Braves 1 year. I'm just getting rid of all of the weekend news here on my checklist. $4.25 million. And for Kinley, Braves fans were shocked that they let him go. They declined the option. It was for $5.5 million. And this actually plays to Kratz's whole collusion thing, because like the teams, they all have like the same figures on what the guy's worth. So they let him go, and then they're like, we'll be able to get him for a little bit less. And they did. I'm not blaming the Braves. I'm just saying that's how the whole system is. Everybody probably has him at the same number, and then he hits the free agent market and gets signed. So good for the Braves. He was lights out with Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
He was traded to them at the deadline. He had an 0.72 ERA in 24 appearances out of the bullpen with more breaking ball usage, slider curve.
He was
Take it.
He was going. I thought he was going to be one of the big pieces at the trade deadline, and the Braves got him, because I went to the game. He was lights out for the Rockies, and I was actually at the game. I think he gave up in Boston. I think he gave up like 5 or 6 runs. And I remember telling my son, who was sitting next to me, I was like, this guy could be a huge, huge trade piece because he's having a great year. He looked over at me after he gave up a bunch of runs, and he was like, ooh, sorry. Like, I didn't jinx him, but he had a really good year. I know you're going to look at the numbers from Colorado and you're going to be like, ugh. But so another great pickup. Don't forget, Atlanta gets their job, gets a lot of their free agency stuff done early. They have put together a banger of a bullpen right now. And to go with that starting rotation, should be healthy this year, and that position player core, don't sleep on the Braves.
Mm-hmm. They'll have, a little chip. It was a rough year for them. No playoffs. And they brought in Robert Suarez. Raisel Iglesias is back, but yeah, it's a good-looking bullpen right now. And then lastly, Jake McCarthy traded from the Diamondbacks to the Rockies. He'll get playing time.
Mm-hmm.
He's had some moments.
Yeah.
And then he kind of fell out of favor. You know, he lost some PT this past year with the D-backs, but it's kind of like a make it or break it situation. He had a really down season and then only ended up going, 222 plate appearances.
Or if you need a good year, Colorado's a good place as an offensive player.
It is. So good for him.
Yeah.
Find it again.
It just wasn't room, I don't think, on the Diamondbacks. So they were like, okay, trade him. Trade him in the division, find him a place to play. Nice job. Nice job, Arizona.
He's had 2 good years. 2022 and 2024 were 2 solid seasons for him. So we'll see if he can find it again. Still, what is he? 20. This will be his age 28 season. He's 28. So there's a little move there.
Left on left. At one point in 24, he was one of the best left on left hitters, and that's what really catapulted his year. I didn't look to see what his splits were last year, but it's a value that maybe he can take what he learned, and if he gets every day at bats in Colorado, that can be how he catapults himself to that next level that it looked like he was taking in 24. Not a lot of power guy, but just puts together ridiculous runs of at bats, line drive, contact, like left on left, right on right. It didn't matter.
Yep, familiar with the division too. All right, let's get to Leo. Today's futures bet we're looking at is regular season home run leader. Aaron Judge is the leader of the pack at plus 350. Shohei Ohtani plus 400. And if you believe in Kyle Schwarber winning this race, throw down 100 to win 800.
Judge.
Out of these three?
Until Judge proves me wrong, I'm going with Judge.
Okay.
I mean, Schwarber had an unbelievable year and didn't even get it done.
True. Kratz?
And it's plus 350. I mean, to me, if it's not Judge at plus 350, like you have to look at like I love Nick Kurtz at 1,000 plus 1,000, 10-1, but I just don't think Shohei's gonna be there. Pete Alonso at plus 1,200. I really like that, maybe even more than I like the Nick Kurtz, but I think Judge is plus 350. I like that number.
I do too.
Dumper. Where's Dumper?
Dumper?
He's at plus 900.
Okay. Yeah, I like Judge.
Tough to lead the league. He showed that last year. Tough to lead the league. It took everything falling right for him to lead the league.
Kurtz is a good pick though.
Yep. Full season in that ballpark.
And he's kind of in the weeds in Sacramento by a ballpark. Nobody really talks about him.
Ball flies
there.
True.
But Judge, if he doesn't get hurt, I'll still take Judge.
Same. To me, it's almost like the only thing that can hold him back, right? Is he going to miss any time? If he's not, he's probably going to take the home run title.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the pro football playoffs are rolling. Oh, look at this. We got a little music to it. BetMGM's giving you 2 ways to make every snap even bigger. An odds boost token, which you know how that works. Looking at an even bigger payout when you use it on a pro football bet. And if you want a little extra peace of mind, grab your no sweat token and you attach that to a qualifying bet. If things don't go your way, you get your stake back in bonus bets.
It was a good weekend for some of our teams in the pro football, but not some of our teams also.
That is correct. That's how it works. So if you want to go check those out, betmgm.com or the BetMGM app. Gambling problem or concern, there's help. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Let's slap. Dodgers territory is coming up in 2 minutes live on the FT Network on their own YouTube channel. They do good numbers over there, even if you're a hater and you want to see what's going on. One topic we didn't get to today that maybe we'll get to tomorrow, the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes. It appears that the Dodgers are going up against the Blue Jays and the Mets. That's what Jim Duquette said, and that's what some other insiders have been talking about. So we'll see what the Dodgers or what Dodgers territory says. Katie Wu, new addition to the Dodgers territory team, will be on that show in 1 minute. Hot sheet with me and the Baseball America crew coming up after that at 3:30 Eastern time. And stay tuned to that show is going to move to a different time slot soon. And Kratz Hatz?
Well, the Chicago Bears must be the reigning NFL world champions, right? Oh wait, no, it's the Eagles. So it's fine. It's like just take an off season. It's totally fine. Ever since AJ made it to Chicago, the only team that's ever won a championship is the White Sox and Cubs. So good for the Cubs making a move. That's why I wore my Cubs hat today. They're a big market team, big market city. See where the Bears go this year.
Baseball City.
Oh, they went farther than the Eagles, and they beat the Eagles' ass this year.
This year.
Well, let's talk about this year. No, I'm not here to talk about the past.
But it's a baseball city because that's where the titles are won.
Yeah.
White Sox,
Baseball
Cubs,
City.
Baseball City. I think we all agree on that one thing. Baseball City. It's where the titles are won. Baseball City. Guest list for the rest of the week on our way out here. Tomorrow, Ken Rosenthal, Craig Stammen, and Rowdy Tellez. Wednesday, Sean Armstrong. Mason Miller and Grayson Rodriguez are scheduled for Thursday. Ken's back on Friday, and we'll fill in the rest of those slots.
By the way, before we go, we were talking about I was at the Bears game, as everyone knows. Dipshit Derek, if you watch Stranger Things, was on the sideline. He's like a young kid, and I wanted to meet him because I saw him, but I was kind of away from me a little bit, and I was like, if I go up to him, do I call him Dipshit Derek, or do I? Because that's his name in the show. Do you say, hey, you're Dipshit Derek?
You should say that.
But like, is that?
No, it's his
respectful, but like, I don't know what his real name is. Hey, you're Dipshit Derek.
But that's like going up to half the music artists that have names. Like, you don't have to say their real name. You just say what they are.
Yeah, but they're adults.
Yeah,
they're adults. This is a kid.
See, I don't know. He's an actual kid. It's not like.
Yeah, he's a kid. He was delightful, Derek, for about 5 minutes, but then he went back to being a dipshit in the show.
Wow. See, I know nothing.
Yeah,
about
to save everybody.
Yeah.
Someone wanted me to say happy bleep, but I can't say it. Bleep year. They were like, I hope you say it to AJ today.
No,
and I was like,
it's too late. We made the rules.
I can't do it.
Someone said it to me today, and I was like, John Hart. You guys know who John Hart is?
Yeah.
He said Happy New Year, and I was like,
Did you tell him, John?
I just walked.
I know you signed me back in the day, but unacceptable.
All right.
All right, we'll see you Tuesday.